everyone, and welcome to Journey with the Kellers. My name is Amanda Keller, and today we are back in the Keller kitchen. So today we are finally getting back to our cake decorating or cake school cookbook. So hopefully finally getting through some of these and actually maybe getting to learning how to decorate the cakes, which was what I wanted to do. But I also want to cover how to make the cakes too, just in case anybody needs to know. I will tell you though, after doing several of these cakes, this is probably not how I would do it, mainly because when I make desserts, it's for my family at home, because a lot of times these cakes take a lot of time for the process that they do them in. So, but you know what? It's good to learn how to do it once, and who knows, maybe someday I will make cakes like that, but probably not. I'd probably stick with the box ones and adding a few ingredients to it to make it a little bit better. But that's okay. So today we are making something called a coffee roulade, I think is what it's called. Let me check here. Yes. Oh, coffee hazelnut roulade. Okay. But first we have to make two other things. So what we're going to make right now is the salted caramel that's going to go inside of it. The reason why I'm making these before I make the cake is because they have to be made and then cooled down. So we're going to go ahead and start with this. This part is actually fairly easy. I am also going to warn that today I am supposed to be babysitting my grand dogs, I guess you would call them. And they are, well, the one is quite rambunctious. So hopefully I'll have time while watching them to get this done. So if you do see two good sized dogs in the background at some point, that is them wandering around my house, okay? So, all right, here we go. So the first thing that you are going to do is we're just going to put all of the ingredients into a pan. So you need 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk. And we're probably going to need a spatula here to get this out. There we go. Okay. So there is that. Then you're going to need a 3/4 of a cup or 1.5 sticks of unsalted butter. The packaging is not wanting to come off of the butter this morning. There we go. Okay. Then you're going to need 1/3 cup plus 2 teaspoons of super fine sugar. Now, I am not using super fine sugar. I'm just using regular old sugar. So we're going to do 1/3 of a cup plus 2 teaspoons. 1 and 2. Okay, got that. Then we're going to do 4 tablespoons of either golden syrup or dark corn syrup. I have dark corn syrup here. And it's brand new, and I forgot to pull the thing off. Okay, there we go. All right, so what was it? 4 tablespoons. All right, so we got 1 tablespoon. And I get the feeling I'm going to need the scraper for this as well. There we go. 1, 2. A little bit too much. 3, and we're not going to quite fill this one up all the way because we overfilled that one just a minute ago. There we go. And then 4. Okay, and then it says 1 to 2 teaspoons of sea salt to taste, basically. I actually have sea salt because that's what's in this grinder. We're going to put that in there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to turn on the heat here. And you're going to basically cook this until the butter melts. Once the butter melts, you're going to go ahead and bring it to a boil. So you're going to bring it to a boil and you're going to cook it for 8 to 10 minutes until it has thickened and darkened, okay? And then once it has done that, you're going to transfer it to a clean bowl and let it cool, okay? So, it doesn't say whether to constantly stir it. It doesn't really say anything about stirring it. But I would think if you, well, maybe, I mean, I would think right now while it's melting the butter, it'd be a good idea to stir it for a little bit. But, you know, plus you want to kind of get that butter mixed in there as it's melting. But it doesn't say to stir it while it's boiling. So I guess that means you could leave it alone. I think I would keep a close eye on it just in case it kind of starts to burn, and maybe stir it occasionally even. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this up to a boil and let it cook for 8 to 10 minutes until it's, what did I say, dark and, thickened and dark. And then I'm going to transfer it to the bowl to cool. Then we will come back and make our next part for this cake. Okay, so I'll be back in a little bit. So the salted caramel is nice and done. I've got it sitting here in my bowl. This is how it turned out. Looks pretty good. I will say that while it was boiling, I did end up stirring it almost the entire time, because when I didn't, it would kind of start to get like crusty around the edges of the pan. So I did pretty much stir it the whole time. While you're making this, like while I was doing it, at first it started looking like it was really coming together, and then all of a sudden like all of this really melted butter kind of showed up. So just keep stirring it. It did take about 10 minutes before it kind of thickened up and, you know, kind of darkened. And it is supposed to be like a kind of, I don't know what color it's called, tannish, blondish, I don't know. So we're gonna set that over here to cool off while we make the second thing, which this is the hazelnut praline, okay? So what you're gonna do for this is you are gonna take 2/3 of a cup. It's supposed to be super fine sugar. I'm just doing regular granulated sugar, okay? So 2/3 of a cup of that into your pan. And you are going to melt this. And I've been putting stuff on low. And it says to use a fork to stir this around, okay? So you're just gonna keep stirring this around until it's melted. And then you're going to continue to cook it. Once it's all melted, you're going to continue to cook it without stirring until it's a light caramel color, okay? Once it turns a light caramel color, you're going to go ahead and add in 1 1/4 cups of roasted skinned hazelnuts, which I actually was able to find them. So you're going to put in 1 1/4 cups of that. And you're going to stir it until it's all coated, okay? Then you're going to have a sheet pan, which I need to go grab, it's over there. You're going to have a sheet pan with a piece of parchment paper on it. And you're just going to go ahead, or you can use like a, let's see. Yeah, it just says immediately pour it onto a coated nonstick pan. I'm going to maybe just spray it down with some coating. Maybe the parchment paper would be bad. It says onto a non-stick baking sheet and let it cool completely. So maybe I'll just put my baking sheet out and just spray it, maybe spray it down with some spray oil and use that, okay? So get your 2/3 cup of sugar in here, melt it, using a fork to kind of stir it around. I would do it on a low temperature. Once it's once you get it melted, you're going to stop stirring it. Once it gets to a light caramel color, you're going to add 1 1/4 cups of roasted skinned hazelnuts. And then you're going to go ahead and once you get that all stirred up and coated, you're going to dump it out onto a non-stick baking sheet and let them cool completely, okay? And then we will come back and hopefully be starting the cake here pretty soon. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, guys, I wanted to correct that. I said 1 1/4 cups of hazelnuts. I think it's not. It's 1 3/4 of a cup of hazelnuts. It's hard to tell the 1 from a 3 sometimes. Not sure why. So 1 3/4 cups of hazelnut added to this after it turns light caramel. Okay. So now I'll be back. Okay, you guys. So our caramel is sitting here cooling. Our praline is done. Now I will tell you, in making this, I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to explain. So I don't know. The sugar took so long to melt. Now I did have it on like a low to medium low heat. So it took so long to melt that by the time it was melted, it was already a caramel color. So I don't really know if you're going to have to let it sit without stirring it to turn the light caramel color, but mine was already turning it, and actually there was still some clumps of sugar that weren't melted all the way, so I was still stirring it and it was already kind of a light caramel color. So just to let you know that. And when I did put the hazelnut in, so some of them don't look, I'm not sure if you can see that real well. They didn't quite get all the way coated. I mean, I think there's stuff on there, but not as much as the other one. And the spray can though, of oil, just spraying some oil on the pan. This is a non-stick pan, but I've had it for a while now, so I wasn't so sure that they wouldn't stick. So I'm glad I sprayed the oil on here because it did work very well. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to crush this. It says to use the end of a rolling pin and just crush it up, okay? You can leave some bigger pieces that you'll use as decorations. But I don't know if it means, I think you're supposed to actually like crush up some of the hazelnuts too. I'm gonna try. I mean, hazelnuts are pretty hard. And they're not real easy to get to stay. It'd be easier to use the whole rolling pin. Although it is making a mess. This is going everywhere, guys. This is going everywhere. So you're just gonna crunch it up. There we go. Now the hazelnuts are breaking up. Yeah, I think it's easier if you just use the whole rolling pin and kind of crunch them up. You can leave some bigger pieces for, you know, like decorations on top of the cake. But yeah, get some of this crunched up real good. Okay. So I'm going to keep working on that here in a little bit. But our next part that we are going to do is we're going to prepare the jelly roll pan. Wow, that really went everywhere. I think there's some on the floor. So you're going to need a jelly roll pan for this, which is basically just a small, kind of like a cookie sheet, but it doesn't usually have handles or anything, okay? So what you're going to do, let me move this out of the way so you guys can see. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it on a piece of parchment paper that's about maybe 2 inches wider on all sides, okay? And you're going to set your jelly pan on top of it, jelly roll pan. And you're just going to trace the bottom of the jelly roll pan, okay? All the way around here. Okay? And then once you've got it all traced, you can remove the pan. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up from here to about where the corner is on each one. So you're going to come from the bottom and cut up to that pencil mark, okay? And then you're going to come from the side and cut to that pencil mark. So, and then you're going to take that square out. So you've got a nice little square ending right at the corner of where the pan is, okay? You're going to do that on all 4 corners. So we're going to cut up, oops, on that one, cut across on this one. Oops, that one didn't cut all the way. There we go. Pull that one off. And you're going to do the same thing here. That one off. And then the same thing here. And pull that one off. Okay, so now you've got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over so that the pencil marks are down, because you don't want that on your, you know, going against your cake. So then you're just going to fold up the edges like so. And then you're going to stick that in your jelly roll pan. Hopefully it'll fit good. And then you'll have a piece of parchment paper that fits. Now I'm going to trim some of this off because the parchment paper is definitely too long. So I'm going to trim it And then your jelly roll pan is ready to go. All you got to do is pour your cake batter in here and it's ready. Okay? So I'm just going to trim this up. I'm going to finish up crunching up my praline, and then I will get everything together for the cake. Now, the cake, so for them to do this whip process, they want you to take the eggs and a couple other things and actually put it on a pot of boiling water. So you're going to put a pot of boiling water on the stove, and then you're going to put the stuff in it that needs to go in it and use like a hand mixer. And while it's heating up and the water is bubbling underneath of it, you're going to be hand mixing it on top for like 10 minutes. Now here's the problem with that. For me, I don't have a plug by my stove, and my stove is over here. My plugs are over here. Yes, it's an old kitchen. There's not a whole lot of plugs. Now there is a plug over there, but it's behind the stove and down below it. And I'm not going to pull my stove out to do that. So I will explain it to you guys of how to do it, but I think I'm just going to whip it up in my mixer without heating it up. The point of heating it up is that as you warm the eggs up and stuff, that they're supposed to do a lot better, you know, and it makes the batter real fluffy. I'm just going to do it without doing it because I don't want to run an extension cord all the way across my kitchen. So I'm just going to do it in my regular stand mixer. So I'll be back and I will show you guys how to put the cake together, and I will explain about the heating up part in case you guys want to do it. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I'll be back, you guys. So we have gotten the praline, hazelnut praline crunched up. We have gotten the caramel back here cooling off still. So now the next part is going to be to basically make the cake. So the first thing that we are going to do, so like I said, normally you would take like a pan, just a small one, doesn't have to be anything big, and just put like 1 inch of water on the bottom, okay? Then you would take a bowl, probably one about maybe this size, and you would put it on top, okay? And what you would do is you would put your eggs and your sugar in here and then turn on the fire, okay? And you would basically wait until the water at the bottom starts to simmer. Does it say simmer or boil? Simmering nicely, okay? So you would wait until the water starts to simmer. Now the water should not be touching the bottom of the bowl. So like this one, I think kind of sinks down in there a little bit too far. Plus you're gonna need room to whisk it up. So you might wanna do a little bit bigger bowl than this that doesn't quite sit down in there so far. But anyways, put your eggs and your sugar in here. Then you're gonna, once the water starts boiling, you're gonna take your electric mixer and you're just gonna keep mixing it for like 10 minutes. Sorry, my dogs are walking by, so I'm sorry if the camera's jiggling. But you're gonna be mixing it for like 10 minutes while it's heating up over this pot of simmering water, okay? And basically it's supposed to make it, and you're supposed to do it on high speed. It's supposed to be aerated, pale, and voluminous when it's done. So it's supposed to making it nice and fluffy, okay? It says when it is done that like when you pull out the whiskers, it'll make like ribbons. Like you can just kind of, you know, it'll make like ribbons of dripping cake batter, okay? So if you want to do it that way, that is fine. But like I said, I don't have plugs over by my stove, and you know, I'm just gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way of using a stand mixer, and it should, I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully it won't affect the cake too much. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you need 4 eggs. So 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh, didn't crack enough. 3, there we go. And then 4. Okay, so once you get all 4 of those in there, you're also going to add to this. Oh, I need to wipe my hands off here. Here we go. You're going to add to this. It's supposed to be, again, super fine sugar, but I'm just going to use granulated sugar. It's going to be a 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon, okay, of sugar. So you're going to do a 1/2 cup. plus 1 tablespoon. Okay. So now you're going to turn this on and beat this at a high speed. See if it becomes, you know, you may even want to do it for 10 minutes like you were going to do for heating it. And let's see if it fluffs up and becomes voluminous like it would if it was heated. Okay, so I'm going to let it beat for about 10 minutes. While that is going on, you can also go ahead and melt, let's see, how much butter is it? Where'd it go? Oh, 3 3/4 of a tablespoon of unsalted butter, melted and cooled. So you go ahead and melt it at the beginning while this is mixing. It should cool off enough by the time this is done in order for that to be ready to go, okay? So also the other thing that you're going to need is 1/3 of a cup of chopped roasted hazelnuts. Now, if you can't find the already roasted and skinned hazelnuts, you can do it yourself with some hazelnuts. You just spread the hazelnuts out on a baking sheet, roast them at 375 for about 10 to 12 minutes, and then just transfer them to a dish towel and rub the nuts to remove the skins and then let them cool, okay? So you can do that as well if you need to. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixing, get my butter melted, and then I'll come back when all of that's ready and we'll go to our next steps. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, you guys, so mine has mixed for about 10 minutes. It's pretty ribbony. I think it looks pretty good. Comes out in ribbons. Looks decent. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this off of the mixer here. Where's my hand? Oh, there it is. Okay. And I am going to move the mixer out of the way so that we've got a little more room here. Okay. All right, so now what you're going to do, move this out of the way. Okay, so what you're going to do is now you have your 3 3/4. I'm having to flip back and forth because this tells you how to make the cake. This tells you the ingredients. A little bit weird. Okay, so you need your 3 3/4 tablespoon unsalted butter, melted and cooled. You're going to take that, oh, and I'll show you guys too. So this is what this looks like. Mine looks nice and airy. Just like they said, there's quite a few bubbles in it. Pretty liquidy looking, nice and fluffy and voluminous. So to me, it looks good. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the butter and you're going to pour it around the outside part of your batter here. It says that'll keep it from getting rid of the air bubbles and stuff. So we're going to pour that in there. Okay, then you're going to take your flour. Oh, and I'm also going to pour in here while we're doing this. So you need some coffee essence. Not coffee essence. So you can do 1 shot or 2.5 tablespoons of espresso that's been cooled. Or you can dissolve 2 teaspoons of coffee essence in 2.5 tablespoons of water. So that's what this is 2.5 tablespoons of water mixed with 2 teaspoons of coffee essence. So I'm going to go ahead and put that around the outside as well. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, then you're going to add in 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour plus 2 tablespoons, but it's supposed to be sifted into here, okay? So we are going to start with 3/4 of a cup. Hopefully we can kind of do this one-handed. Let's see. Make sure we need to like tip this a little bit. Kind of like unlevel it. There we go. That's better. Okay. Ow, hit my elbow. All right, so 3/4 of a cup, right? Yep, plus 2 tablespoons. A little bit hard one-handed because I can't really set this down in there. Okay, so 1 tablespoon. Come on. There we go. 2 tablespoons. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and sift that in there. Okay, all that stuff. Now you're going to take a spatula and you're just going to fold it in from what it says, correct? Yeah, you can either use a metal spoon or a flat spatula and gently fold the butter and flour in. and the coffee essence in this case. Okay, so we're just gonna fold that all in. And you want to do it gently so you don't knock all the air out of the cake. That's, you know, in this, you know, they don't really say a whole lot about air in like a, you know, a regular cake that you would make usually. But in a lot of this book, that's what it's about, is keeping air in the cake batter, okay? Make sure you get it nice and mixed in. And make sure you go all the way down to the bottom as well, because it does kind of sink in there. You scrape the sides. We are getting there, you guys. That coffee stuff is strong. I can smell it. Keep finding like clumps of flour, so just keep gently kind of folding it in until you see that that's all gone, okay? Okay, I think all of the flour is in there now. Okay, so it hasn't changed much. It's still pretty liquidy. It's still a pretty liquid mix. It's just maybe a little bit darker of a color because of the coffee essence. But other than that, I mean, I don't see much difference. Maybe it got a little bit thicker from the flour and stuff, but not very much. It's still pretty liquidy feeling, okay? So now, once you get that all done, you're gonna take your jelly roll pan. And let's see here. Yep, just pour it into, or they call this a Swiss roll pan, I guess is what they call it. You're gonna go ahead and pour this in. Okay. We're gonna spread it out. And now I'm seeing flour that didn't get mixed in all the way. Great. I'm gonna mix that in a little bit. It like hides out in the batter. Okay, but let's get it to the corners here. Okay, there we go. A little bit more left in the bowl. Okay, so once you get that all in there, now you're going to take 1/3 of a cup, your 1/3 of a cup, I had to find it, of chopped hazelnuts, and you are gonna sprinkle this over top, okay? And do make sure that your batter is all the way into the corners. It's important. Okay, so we're just gonna sprinkle this all on the top here. All right, there we go. And then you are going to bake this in a preheated oven. What's the temperature? Oh, 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes, okay? And just so you guys know, this is I think this is a 9x11 Swiss roll pan, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this in at 375, bake it for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, when you're going to pull it out, and I will come back and try to show you guys, but just so that you know, when you go to pull it out, you're going to need a damp kitchen towel laid down and then a piece of parchment paper over top of it, okay? Because you're going to bring this out on top of that parchment paper and all of that, and I'll explain that once this is done. But just so you know, damp paper towel and then a parchment paper on top of that, because you're going to be inverting this out onto it immediately after it comes out of the oven, okay? So I'll be back as soon as this is baked up and done, and we will go from there. Be back in a minute. Okay, you guys, so I'm just about ready to pull the cake out of the oven. So like I said, what you're gonna need before you pull it out is a damp kitchen towel. So this is just a little bit wet, and a piece of parchment paper. And this parchment paper keeps curling up now. And you're gonna go ahead and sprinkle the top of this parchment paper with a little bit of superfine sugar. And unfortunately, this parchment paper is not wanting to stay open, so that's not helping any. set something on both ends here. Get it to stay open. What else can I set? Maybe this? I don't have to worry. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that sugar is spread out now. Okay. I'll probably have to hold that corner down or something. I don't know. Anyways, so let me go grab the cake. Oh, and I also did find out that my pan is not a 9x11. It's actually a 9x16. So I had to watch how long I baked it for, but I think it's done. And unfortunately, that has made mine very thin as well. I don't know if that's good or not. I guess we'll find out. Mistakes are always made and you just have to deal with it. It's how it goes. Okay, so now I can get this. I don't know how I'm going to do this with this. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So let's hope we can just invert it like it says. Whew, I think we did it. Okay. All right, so get that pan out of the way. All right, so once you get it inverted, I'm going to pull this. Make sure this is all out of the way. We don't need that in there anymore. Okay, so now you're just gonna go ahead and let's see. Okay, this is remove, be careful, protect the surface. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna start pulling off this parchment paper that was on the bottom in strips. And it says to try to be very careful of not like damaging, you know, like pulling too much of the cake off while you're doing this. So you're just gonna go pretty slow, pull it off in strips here. As you can see, it's not doing too bad. Cake is holding up pretty good to it. Okay, get the next one. Then the next one. Excuse me, sir. Get your nose back. Grand dog. He's almost tall enough to just stick his head right there on the counter. All right. Oops, that one was a little small. Oops, and there's, make sure you get it out from underneath of the cake too, because if you start pulling it and it's underneath the cake, then you're gonna have a problem. There we go. Okay. Get this last piece up. Here we go. Now I am going to try to spin this around because we're going to roll it from the short end. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to roll it up from the short end, leaving the parchment paper in here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead, roll it up from the short end here. Let's hope we can do this. I've never done one of these before. I've never done a Swiss roll or anything. Okay, so hopefully, you're supposed to roll the parchment paper into it. So you're not supposed to take that off or anything. I don't know how tight you're supposed to do it or anything else, but we'll just keep going here. Kind of sliding off the one end of the parchment paper. That's probably not good. Okay, whew, that's hot. All right, so you're gonna roll it up in the parchment paper. There we go. And then you're going to take the damp towel. I don't know if I can pick this up because it's not like the parchment paper. Maybe it wasn't long enough. Okay, trying to pull it back. I don't want to destroy it or anything. There we go. Okay. So then once you get it rolled up in the parchment paper, you're going to take your damp towel and you're going to roll that around it. Okay. Just like so. Make sure it stays nice and good. Ha, got it. Okay. Now you're going to let that cool. All right. So we're just going to let it sit here and cool. Once it's getting to a point where it's starting to feel like it's getting pretty cooled off, I will come back and show you guys. We have one last thing to make, which is the buttercream icing. So I will come back and show you guys how to make the buttercream icing, and then we will hopefully put this all together. Okay? I have no idea how long this is going to take to cool off, but I'm guessing we'll be able to feel it. Hopefully not too long. So I'll be back as soon as it's ready. Okay, you guys, so our cake is almost cooled. It's sitting over here. I'm pretty sure it's cooled down all the way. So what we're gonna do real quick is make the buttercream, the vanilla buttercream icing, okay? So what you're gonna do is you are gonna put 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons, and I've already put the 2 tablespoons in here. This doesn't wanna let go. It should be of softened, unsalted butter, okay? So I already put the 2 tablespoons in. There's 1 stick. Here's 2 sticks to make the 1 cup. Wow. I really don't want you to get the butter out of this wrappers lately. There we go. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and beat this butter here. You're going to beat it for about 1 minute until it's nice and smooth, okay? Okay, so once it's nice and smoothed out, I'm going to go ahead and kind of get it ready. You're going to need 3½ to 3 2/3 cups of unrefined confectioner sugar or pure white confectioner sugar. I'm just using powdered sugar. I don't know if this is pure white or pure anything. I have no idea. I don't know. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so the butter creamed out pretty easily. So we're going to go ahead and add in, you want to turn it down to low because this is going to make a mess if you don't. Okay, so we're going to add, let's see, we're going to start with 1 cup. We're going to do 2 cups. And then 3 cups. Buttercream is almost like the messiest, or powdered sugar and cornstarch are like the messiest things to cook with. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put 1/2 cup in. Now I'm guessing you won't know whether or not you need the next part. Okay, it does say to go ahead and turn it up so that you're beating it here. You're supposed to mix it until the buttercream is pale, creamy, and doubled in size. Okay? Shouldn't take too long. I don't think we're going to need any more. It's like the 3½ is going to do it. Okay, so what you're going to need now is to add your vanilla bean paste. But you're going to need 2 tablespoons of vanilla bean paste. And here's 1 going in. Going in. Okay. All right, now I'm going to let that whisk the rest of the way up. I'm going to clean this up so that we've got room to work on the cake, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, so we have our vanilla buttercream all done and ready. It's looking really good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Oh, and I also have put the salted caramel that we made earlier in a piping bag. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to unroll this. We'll leave it on, I think. Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll take the towel out from underneath of it because it's kind of messy. There we go. I think I want another piece of parchment paper. All right, here we go. You can smell the coffee in it, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to do this on a piece of parchment paper here. Oh, the parchment paper is messing up. Okay. Can we take this off? Let's see. There we go. Because we're not going to roll it back up in that one again. Okay. So, close that out. Ready to get it unrolled all the way. There we go. Good. All right. Now you're just going to put the buttercream icing on top of this. Okay. Spread it out as best as you can. And like I said, my cake is actually a little bit bigger than what it's supposed to be because it was supposed to be a 9 by 11 pan and mine was a 9 by 16. I guess I bought the wrong size pan and didn't pay attention. But you know, hey, we'll work with what we got, right? Okay. I'll be honest with you guys, I really don't know if I'm going to like this one. I'm not big on coffee. I don't drink it at all. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about if I'm even, I guess I shouldn't be worried though, because other people in my family do like coffee. So I guess it's not that big of a deal if I don't like it, because they probably will, but still, you take all this time to make it and then you might not like it. Stinks. All right, there we go. So, got a good layer of buttercream on it. Now you can store this buttercream. Actually, it told me for how long. Let's see. What page was that on? Page 104. I just got stuff on the book. That's great because it was on my fingers. So you can store it up to 4 weeks in an airtight container in the refrigerator. Okay, and then you just need to bring it to room temperature and reheat it. So if you have leftover buttercream and you'd like to just save it, you can do that. Okay. All right. So now we have the buttercream on. Okay. Now you're going to fill your bag, a piping bag, with your salted caramel. Snip off the end here. I get the feeling this is going to be kind of hard to squeeze because, you know, it is caramel. Oh, it's not too bad actually. Okay, and you're just going to kind of squeeze it on. It is a little bit hard to squeeze. I'm really squeezing, guys. And just kind of zigzag back and forth on your cake. Okay? Maybe I might need to make the hole a little bit bigger. I'm going to be injuring myself here. Let's see if it'll do it. There we go. Let's try that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so just kind of put this on. Go back and forth. You've got to learn to stop, to just squeeze from the top and stop squeezing in the middle because it causes problems. But this is really hard to squeeze too, so that's a little bit harder. Okay. Let's go all the way down the cake. I'm leaving little trails where it's breaking up, but that's okay. Mikolash, what are you doing? I've got a pup looking in my cabinets. You guys probably can't see him. He's like right at the edge of the counter, so he's walking around. The big old husky mix. Looks like a big old hairball. Now he's shaking the camera because he's walking by over there. Mikolash, come on. Okay. Yeah, I know. All right, so we got this one and this one. I'm trying to fill in the gaps where I left the little holes. Okay. There we go. It looks pretty good. Okay. So once you get that done, then you're going to take up your crunched up hazelnut praline, and you're just going to go ahead and shake this on, right? Oh, actually, I think we were supposed to do the hazelnut first and then the caramel, but that's okay. So yeah, you can do the hazelnuts. After you put the buttercream on, you can do the hazelnut crunch, sprinkle that on. Is it given a specific amount? Oh, it's only supposed to be 3 tablespoons. I probably put about that on. I wasn't paying attention. A little bit more. Okay, so put about 3 tablespoons of crushed hazelnut praline on the top. Then do your caramel, okay? And then you're just gonna roll this back up. This is the part I'm worried about, is breaking it. Okay. Is it gonna roll as well as it did when we did it? Seems to be going okay, guys. Seems to be going okay. Okay, oh, look at that. Okay, now you're just gonna transfer it to a serving platter. Hold on, let me get my hands cleaned up a little here. There you go. On this towel. Oh, now I've got all 3 of the dogs in here, huh? Okay, well. All right, so. Get my handy dandy serving platter out. I need to move this all over. Move this out of the way. Okay. Now, here we go. Move that right there. There we go. Okay, so now, you're just gonna, you can decorate this with some additional hazelnut praline on the top. I will say that theirs looks darker than mine. Mine is like a little bit sticky on the outside, which kind of makes me think it's not quite done as well as it should be. I mean, it's done, but, and I mean, you did kind of put a wet towel over it. But yeah, so you can just put some of the, if you have the bigger clumps, you could do some bigger clumps up here. Just put some more hazelnut praline on there. And voila, you guys. What do you think? I think that looks really, really cute. Like I said, theirs is a little bit browner on the outside, which I hope really doesn't mean that mine's, but it looks good. So I think it's okay. All right, I'm just gonna tear a little piece off from the inside circle here so that I don't really ruin the look of it, because I like the look of it and I want the family to be able to see it. I'm gonna show it off. So I'm just gonna try a little bit of the cake with some icing and maybe a little bit, let's see if I can find a good, there we go. All right, so let's give this a try. Make sure we've got some salted caramel on there. Take a piece of that. There we go. All right, let's try, you guys. Actually, that's really good. Okay. I was worried it was gonna taste too much like coffee, but it actually doesn't. It's really good. Wow. It kind of just tastes, I'm not sure. It's not really like cake-like. I mean, it is cake-like, but not like a normal vanilla cake. And when you mix it with the salted caramel and the buttercream and the hazelnuts, it's a really good combination. It is really sweet. She does say that if this is too sweet or you think it's going to be too sweet, that you can use mascarpone instead of buttercream for the filling on the inside. But it's really good just the way it is. So I think I'm happy with it. Okay, you guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you like, or don't if you don't. Everyone have a good day. Enjoy your cooking. Keep your kitchen messy, and we'll see you later. Bye.